We know that YouTube has real problems with anybody that tries to advocate for the sale of firearms. Well, that's not going to be a problem for this video today, because today I'm going to be telling you why you shouldn't buy a military surplus Makarov. I've been in the YouTube land for a long time, long enough to remember when the Makarov pistol was billed as something that for on the cheap you could get a good defensive pistol with a military pedigree and 1,000 rounds of ammo, and it's not going to break the bank, and it would be cheaper than going and getting a 9mm Glock. And so if you can have something that's a good military pistol with a good pedigree and it'll work as a defensive weapon and it'll work as a pocket pistol, why wouldn't you get this instead of something modern? And honestly, I think there was a strong, after buying this Makarov pistol, I think there was a strong financial incentive for most of those people to say that. I got it because I really like Soviet-era pistols. They have a grittiness to them, and this one's got some grittiness to it. We'll talk about that later. They have a grittiness to them, a realism to them that sometimes you don't get with today's plastic fantastic Wonder 9s. I like something that's got character, right? Like, I like my whiskey to have a lot of oakiness in it. I like my cigars to be very, very flavorful, sometimes a little more flavorful than most people would. I like my cars to have some quirks. I like my pistols to have that gritty, authentic nature. However, I would also like them to be usable as guns, and this just kind of isn't. Let me explain. This thing was a military service pistol, and I'm pretty sure the criterion of it was make it and gun that people won't shoot themselves with. I am a revolver guy through and through. I own lots of revolvers. I'd rather shoot revolvers than my duty pistol, even though I'm much better with the duty pistol and it's far more better performance. I just kind of like old guns, and I'm okay with double action triggers. This one's horrendous. And it's not just this example. I've handled several of these. These triggers are horrendous. It is endemic to Bulgarian Makarovs, which is the majority of the ones that are out there. If you're not spending a couple $1,000s on a Makarov, this is probably what you're getting. The transition from double action to single action, when you dry fire it, you're like, the single action's good though. I could just shoot it single action at the range, and then I got a cool range plinker too. Well, yeah, that's great, except the only ammo you can get for this thing today in 2025 is defensive ammo. It's all hollow points. They're very expensive, especially for what they are. Not quite 9mm, a little more than 380. It's not a great situation with ammo. So you're not going to take this to the range and shoot it a whole bunch. To say nothing of these little teeny tiny sights that this thing has on it. I mean, barely usable. My Browning High Power has better sights than this stinking thing. And then combine this with a double action trigger pull of like 250 pounds or something. I don't know. This is like the longest, creepiest. You could see, even though I'm a practiced revolver shooter, very practiced, I can't smoothly pull the trigger on this thing. It's just not pleasant to use. And it's not a fun pistol to shoot, so you're not going to shoot a whole bunch. It's an expensive pistol to shoot, so you're not going to shoot it a whole bunch. It's a little large for pocket carry. It's very small for hip carry. Maybe appendix inside the waistband, but it's blued, so it's going to rust up if you do that with it in all likelihood. And the safety's a little wonky and gritty. I really don't enjoy it. And you can't really reload it really easily. I just don't see what people like about this thing. Unless you're just into it for the aesthetics. If you kind of like the Cold War aesthetic, I could see it, but these things are all marked on the front strap or right on the side of the pistol with import markings. You get one that's not import marked, I guess it makes a good collector's piece. But these, they're not economical to shoot, and they're not fun to shoot. There was a time when these things were $250, and you get 1,000 rounds of ammo for them for $250, and at that time it made sense as like your first pistol, or as like a collector's pistol, or as like a range plinking pistol, but today it just doesn't make sense. Now let me get into the nitty-gritty of these. I know people are already clamoring in the comments to tell me why I'm wrong, but as a guy who's into revolvers, I just don't understand the reload process. This is literally worse than reloading an 8-shot end-frame Smith & Wesson 357 revolver. It's that finicky and jumpy, right? So these are heel release magazines. I have no problem with it being heel release. In fact, that's one of the things I was like, oh, it's kind of a cool thing to have a heel release, right? Heel release magazine, taking it out, just fine. Putting it back in, kind of got to line it up perfectly in order for it to go in. I mean, under pressure, how much you're going to reload this under pressure, but under pressure, it's kind of a pain. Just if you're on the clock trying to switch out magazines, kind of a pain, right? It requires that you retain it, which I understand is part of the charm from that time period. But what's not part of the time from that time period is cutting your finger up trying to reload this thing, because there's a little metal tab here on the side to help you reload, kind of the same way you would with a 22, right? Helps you reload, but it's really, really sharp on at least the examples that I got, which I'm assuming are just kind of military surplus examples given the condition and finish on them and the electro pencil markings. What a pain to load. You load rounds in, and if you're holding the magazine and loading rounds in, this tab clips at you. If you push down on the tab to try to load magazine, you end up clipping up your fingernail. It's not very nice, right? And then we've got our decocker safety here that is really, really gritty. I mean, just really, really gritty. It's not pleasant. I guess theoretically you can get to it from a grip, but if you try to just throw it with your thumb it's not nice. It's not smooth. It nicks at your thumb when you're using it. I mean, am I being a bitch a little bit? Maybe I'm being a little bit of a bitch about the pistol. But again, for $250, I'd be fine with it. For $400, I'm not fine with it. And with the price of ammunition, I don't really see the point. People talk about large 9mm pistols being snappy. This is more powerful than most 380s, and it is blowback, and it is a little bit snappy. And it's just not a pleasant gun to shoot. For the price currently of this, because of the ammo costs, and because of what these are costing in anything like good shape, because this is what a good condition one looks like today, I can get a Ruger 2245, and a suppressor for it, and 1,000 rounds of ammo. And this will probably run for the foreseeable future and allow me and my children to be able to shoot it essentially forever. And this I'll be able to shoot until the supply of 9mm Makarov defensive ammo runs out, because that's all I can get for it anymore. The surplus ammo seems to have all but dried up. The stuff that's left is really expensive, and now people are selling defensive ammo for it because YouTubers 10 years ago, or probably longer than that ago now, convinced everybody that this was a good idea as a defensive pistol, and there's a lot of people out there that still have them for that purpose because they only bought this gun and that was the only gun that they bought. Ever. So, in compliance with YouTube's policies, I'm going to give you my honest to God's opinion. Don't buy one of these things. If you're looking for it as a defensive pistol, if you think it's going to be a fun range toy, you think it would be something cool to take out to the range on weekends and shoot all the time, or you're going to carry this in a pocket, or you're going to carry it inside the waistband appendix, or you're going to carry it in a shoulder holster or a hip holster or something like that, there's better options. For the weight, you can get any number of polymer frame double stack pistols that are going to give you a better defensive option if you're carrying it on your hip. For its weight and finish, much better options are available for carrying appendix inside the waistband. Anything that's not a blued finish, basically, I think would be better. For its size, it's a terrible, absolutely terrible pocket pistol unless you have the absolutely largest of like Duluth or proper brand uniform pants. It's just not a great gun. I understand where the Soviets were coming from with this, that it's going to be small enough to pocket carry and large enough to be a duty pistol and powerful enough to be a duty pistol, but not so powerful that people with little bitch hands aren't going to be able to handle it. And it's going to be kind of snappy, but not snappy enough where a big guy won't be able to carry it if he's in the infantry. And it's going to kind of work for everything. And stupid conscripts won't shoot themselves with it because the first shot is a long, heavy double action press. But in the era of the post-1980s, this makes no sense. Even when I was a kid, you would have been better off with almost anything made by other brands. Beretta, Walther, Sig Sauer were all creating things that were much better than this in the mid-90s. So today in 2025, it just doesn't make sense. So that's my take on my Bulgarian Makarov, which I am now going to trade away for something much more valuable. And here's the tie into police work. I'm going to trade this to a guy for days off of work, because that's the best use of it. He is a collector. He is going to appreciate this for what it is, a beautiful piece of history that has a weird engraving on it, but that's the type of weirdo that he is. So he's going to enjoy it. It's the perfect pistol for him. It's in great shape for a Makarov of its vintage, but it's just not the gun for me. And I'm betting if you're watching a video explaining the Makarov, it's probably not the gun for you either. Until next week, you guys be safe. Take care of each other. That's been your free field training for today. While you're here, check out one of the other videos that we made, or down here, subscribe so you can see more. Or you could check out Patreon, where you can see how you can get your name put on the videos, like all these fine folks over here. I'll see you guys next time.